From Painesville, outside the nation's capital, Monrovia. Good morning and welcome to Place News Point. 45 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. Today is Thursday, September 11, 2025. My name is Menso Mendy presenting this edition of the program. Stories topping the headlines. Governments of Liberia and Rwanda announced the establishment of a Joint Permanent Commission of Cooperation and a reciprocal visa waiver for the betterment of both countries. Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia expresses frustration over what it describes as a slow pace of investigation being carried out by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to hold officials accountable for allegedly misusing state resources. Sokokanen Public School in Panjit Town, Grand Camal County risks closure this academic year due to its deplorable condition as citizens of Gwion Town in Gouda district called for government intervention. Away from Liberia, US President Donald Trump called the killing of Charlie Kirk a dark movement for America as manhunt continues. The news bulletin, the foreign development, the voices of those making the news, and the personalized posts are all packaged onto this presentation. But first, Stephen Taru comes in with the news bulletin. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Mandy. Good morning, Liberians. The government of Liberia and Rwanda have signed the establishment of a joint permanent commission of cooperation and a reciprocal visa waiver for the betterment of both countries. Speaking on Wednesday during a signing ceremony at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia, Foreign Minister Cyril Beslonyanti said the move signals a major boost in trade, security, and deepening cooperation. She added that Liberia looks forward to training and increasing trade investment between the two countries, emphasizing that Africans can work together and advance their various agenda. According to her long-standing relationship between Liberia and Rwanda will be in the interest of both nations, noting that the meeting of security personnel in terms of intelligence sharing will help Liberia maintain peace in the one and whenever there is a conflict. Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Rwanda, Oliver Patrick, has celebrated the agreement, describing the deal as a step that allows a free movement between the two countries. The Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia has expressed disappointment over what it described as slow pace of investigation of being carried out by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Agency to hold government officials accountable for allegedly misusing states' resources. Addressing the press out Wednesday in Monrovia, Central Executive Director Arnold Simiamin stated that the General Auditing Commission is the supreme institution responsible for auditing all institutions, including those in the private sector. He emphasized the GAC have recently published its findings on the government's consolidated financial statement from January to September 2024. According to him, Section 4 of the Public Financial Management Act states that the consolidated account is where all government revenues from taxes, fees, and other sources should be deposited, noting that the GAC discovered a violation. This entire boss also revealed that the audit report showed that over 2.8 million was disbursed by the Ministry of Finance, exceeding the approved amount in the national budget, something he believes is another violation. Meanwhile, Sentari is urging the Liberia Anti-Corruption Agency to immediately launch an investigation into off-budget spending on health, education, and other sectors, noting that the LACC needs to address issues raised in the audit report. Citizens of Gwen in the Gaula District, Grand Kima County, have revealed that the Soko Kane Public School in Banji Town will not resume for this academic year due to its deplorable condition. The citizen through the town chief of Kanji alarms about the appalling conditions of the school facility, noting that the entire building is leaking. As such, that they cannot allow the people's children to sit on such a facility to learn. Further that they have communicated with both their elected and county authorities, adding that nobody has come to their aid. Town Chief Suku Kane discloses that an eminent son of the county, Afansa Kenneth, assisted the community with a 12 bundles of zinc, something he said he used to tentatively cover some of the affected areas on the bathing. He wants the Ministry of Education to actually see the need to renovate the various public schools in the county in if the Liberian children to acquire a quality education. The officer in charge of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Fitzgerald Biago, has warned officers of the LDO who are allegedly involved in drug trafficking to desist, revealing that this leadership would weed out by officers with the agency. Speaking on Wednesday to journalists after he met with civil society organizations in Tottenburg and Bowman County, Biago stated that the agency wants credible officers who will go after drug traffickers and abusers. According to him, the LDO will provide a hotline to civil society organizations, motorcyclists, marketeers, and citizens to inform the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency about drug use and abuse in the country. Fitzgerald Biago also reaffirmed the agency's commitment to working with citizens in the fight against the use of illicit substances in Liberia. The LDA officer in charge at the same time revealed that the agency will soon extend its drug testing to several government security institutions, including the Liberian National Police and the Liberian National Fire Service, among others. He further stated that the action against who are working with the LDA will be trained, deployed, and employed by the agency for the boost of its workforce. A Swedish women's organization, Kvinna till Kvinna, in collaboration with other women's organizations, is expected to conduct a 10th consultative women conference aimed at bringing women together from diverse walks of life to address major issues affecting them. Kvinna till Kvinna, also known as Women to Women, has been established in Liberia since 2009, providing funding and capacity building to support a local women's organization. Speaking to journalists on Wednesday, September 10 in Monrovia, the country director of the organization, Aisha La, revealed that the upcoming Women's Conference will create a space where women can navigate their way through leadership and advocacy in the country. She added that the women attending the conference will craft an idea and policies as a group aimed at advocating for changes in women's rights and other areas. For prior to the executive director of Women in Agriculture for Sustainable Development, Awan Vani, disclosed that the conference is relevant for the advancement of women in the interior parts of the country. The National Lottery Authority still said that its attention has been drawn to recent media publications alleging massive corruption, nepotism, illegal employment, intimidation of staff, and arbitrary dismissal within the authority. The NLA, in a press statement issued in Monrovia on Tuesday, said it finds it necessary to respond comprehensively to these claims and set the record straight for the benefit of the general public and all stakeholders. As a public institutional mandated to oversee the development and management of gaming and gambling activities nationwide, the NLA sees it operates within strict regulatory frameworks and adheres to principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance. According to the release, the NLA strongly denies any claims of financial impropriety or mismanagement and maintains that all financial transactions, procurement processes, and project implementations are carried out in accordance with the Public Financial Management Act, the Public Procurement Act, and other relevant regulations. The current administration of the authority has meanwhile written the General Auditing Commission to launch a comprehensive audit of the entity's accounts and all business transactions with gaming companies, including casinos, sports betting, slot machines, and other promotional competitions in Liberia. The new Life Recovery Center has called on the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency and the Ministry of Health, Youth and Sports to organize a national conference to deliberate on the challenges combating the widespread of drug abuse in the country. The coordinator of the center, Jefferson Knight, said the fight against drugs in Liberia is not holistic. As a result, the government will never achieve its desire to eliminate importation and abuse in the country. Speaking in an interview with the station on Tuesday, Knight said the national conference will bring stakeholders together to advance proposals and take concrete steps in addressing the drug problems in the country. Nike cautioned the newly appointed interim leadership at the LDEA, the Ministry of Health, Youth and Sports, to give such proposal a timely consideration. The internationally recognized Liberia Labour Congress has officially awarded its passports as reports covering its activities from 2024 to 2025 to the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. The embattled Secretary General of the Congress, John Knight, disclosed that it has complained to the ILO that the Liberian government has failed to abide by the international protocols on government freedom of labor organizations to unite. Speaking in an interview with reporters, Nat pointed out that the Ministry of Labor is deliberately working with a splitter of the LLC, which is not recognized by the ILO. According to Nat, the Liberian government is deliberately denying the rights of civil servants, including teachers and health workers, to join the Liberia Labor Congress. The chairman of the Shakala Clinic Development Committee, John Balawu, says the facility is currently battling shortage of medicine supply. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent recently, Talawu explained that the facility is providing health care services to inhabitants of Shapala and its environs, including neighboring Guinea, but is currently challenged in delivering adequate healthcare services due to the lack of sufficient vital medications. Balawu narrated that statistics from the clinic have shown a rise in malaria cases as compared to other illnesses, while expressing that challenges in handling majority of the cases due to the lack of sufficient malaria treatment. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Ways, Means and Finance has observed that the Liberian government is losing millions of dollars, United States dollars, by allowing private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products. Banka County Senator Prince Moy said there is a need for the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Corporation to explain how it has regulated some of its statutory responsibilities to private companies in the country. Addressing the press conference at his Capitol Building office, Senator Moy disclosed that as soon as the National Legislature resumes a regular business, he will be communicating to the plenary of the Liberian Senate to intervene in this matter. According to Senator Boy, Liberia is the only country in the West African sub-region that allows private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products, and away from whom a manhunt is ongoing for the killer of conservative activist and influential Trump ally Charlie Kerr, who died after being shot at in University, Utah. Two people who were arrested have since been released. Officials say they have no current ties to the shooting. It's not clear if police have any leads on the gunman, but authorities don't seem to think they're still on campus, according to the BBC. Meanwhile, Trump says he is filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination, calling it a dark moment for America in a video message. Blaze News.
Steven Tadu with the news bulletin and foreign development is indeed a regular feature on Blaze News Point. For news fast, factual, and always up to date, you are just tuned to Blaze News Point. 45 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. These are stories topping the headlines. Governments of Liberia and Rwanda signed the establishment of a joint permanent commission of cooperation and reciprocal visa waiver for the betterment of both countries. Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia expresses frustration over what it describes as a slow pace of investigation being carried out by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to hold officials accountable for allegedly misusing state resources. Soko County Public School in Puget Town, Grand Cayman County, risks closure this academic year due to its deplorable condition. As citizens of Gwion Town in Gouda District called for the government intervention. And away from Liberia, U.S. President Donald Trump called the killing of Charlie Kirk a dark moment for America as manhunt continues. Voices of those making the news exposed are all packaged and stay ahead. But this break, to be right back. Welcome back to Blaze News Point. We don't take our first development. The governments of Liberia and Rwanda have signed the establishment of a joint permanent commission of cooperation and a reciprocal visa waiver for the betterment of both countries. Speaking on Wednesday during the signing ceremony at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Monrovia, Foreign Minister Sarah Besso Yanti said the move signals a major boost in tourism trade, and deepening cooperation. She added that Liberia looks forward to training and increasing trade investment between the two countries, emphasizing that Africans can work together and advance their various agenda.
The agreements we signed today are a step in that direction to continue to deepen that relationship and continue to move forward, learning from each other and growing together. The African Continental Free Trade area for us is an opportunity. Like, and I would say that the important thing for us here today is to show that Africans can do it. We can work together, we can cooperate, and we can ensure that we advance our various agendas. Economic diplomacy is one of the major thrusts of our foreign policy right now over the last 2 years. How do we attract Rwandan investors into Liberia? Our arrest agenda identifies areas where we need to ensure not only government policy frameworks and actions to accelerate development, but where investors can find opportunities in agriculture, in sanitation, hygiene, energy, tourism, and promoting tourism from the perspective of domestic and international tourism. We look forward to trading, increasing trade and investment between Liberia and Rwanda. And we see our students in Rwanda, over 3,000 Liberian students in Rwanda, where you've been very gracious to our students. We see the opportunity of our students there as an opportunity for cultural diplomacy, to look at how we share our culture with you, you share your culture with us, how we learn from each other. We also look forward to having a diplomatic presence in Rwanda. We hope that we can get some support from your government to help us to do that in terms of a location, office space, the chancery. In about 3 to 5 years, so we come in and set that up and take it forward from there. We believe that the long-standing relationship we have had is going to see the best yet to come. We believe that the agreement we signed last year with you and this that we signed in because in fact we continue those sectors. We're happy that your security personnel came also as part of this mission. They're meeting with our security personnel in terms of intelligence sharing and so forth. This is very important as we approach the UN Security Council seat. And as we approach the issues around analysis on the continent and looking at the various regions of the continent, the various conflicts on the continent, and how we can play a part towards justice.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Rwanda, Oliver Patrick Oduhungirid, celebrated the agreement, describing the deal as a step that allowed free movement between the two countries. Mm. Honestly, me, I mean,
We have now signed two MOUs, one on waiving visas between our two countries, which is in line of our African spirit to improve free movement of people in our on our continent. And we have also signed an MOU on joint permanent commission, which we hope will structure our cooperation to allow us to review on a regular basis project MOUs and other agreements signed in our two countries. These two MOUs actually follow four other MOUs that were signed. MOU in cooperation. There was in 2008 an MOU in defense cooperation. In 2018 we had two MOUs that were signed. One on bilateral service agreement and another one on cooperation between our two tax institutions, the Rwanda Revenue Authority and the Liberian Revenue Authority. And last year with Brother Ibrahim in Kigali, we signed an MOU.
the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia has expressed disappointment over what it described as slow pace of investigation being carried out by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to hold agency that's to hold government officials accountable for allegedly misusing state resources. Addressing the press Wednesday, Maruvia Sentau, the executive director, Anosin Merriman stated that the General Auditing Commission is the supreme institution responsible for auditing all institutions, including those in the private sector. According to him, Section 4 of the Public Financial Management Act states that the consolidated fund account is where our government revenues from taxes, fees, and other resources should be deposited, noting that the GAC discovered a violation.
of the report include one, that the Liberia Revenue Authority did not expand its revenue reporting software as a quota and liters to rural collectorate, which will ensure greater transparency of tax system and reduce the likelihood of corruption. That there is a gap in efficient revenue generation, which is compounded by the lack of adequate personnel deployed by LRA at rural tax collection centers, are finding validated during one of our recent engagements with stakeholders in Bangabong County. That over 2.8 million was disbursed by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, exceeding what was approved through the national budget. We see this revelation by the audit as very concerning, especially so that this administration has been previously accused for disregard of the budget and the public financial management laws by spending off budget with zero approval from the legislature. That there is an honor disbursement of approved appropriations in the national budget in the entire is deeply troubled by these audit findings, which show continuous gross weaknesses in government's revenue collection and financial management systems and process. Similar audit of the consolidated account in previous years showed even worrying trend, which indicates that national government is not doing enough to break away from the ugly path in some areas. This needs urgent attention.
Meanwhile, Senta is urging the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to immediately launch an investigation into off-budget spending on health, education, and other sectors, noting that the LACC needs to address issues raised in the audit report.
Senta believed that there could not have been a better way for the new Chief Justice to announce his presence and intentions to tackle corruption and institute other reforms within the judiciary, which has been at the center of multiple allegations of corruption involving judges, lawyers, court officials, and other actors. We urge that the credential and financial audits be commenced and completed within reasonable time period, and the findings and recommendations are fully implemented to enhance transparency and accountability and help to increase public confidence in the judiciary, which has somehow declined over the years. Recommendation. In conclusion, we wish to make the following recommendations to improve transparency and accountability around government spending, maximize domestic revenue mobilization, and enhance accountability and integrity within the Liberian judiciary. One, that the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission timely and thoroughly investigates off-budget spending, honor disbursement to health, education, and critical sectors, and other performance and accountability issues raised by the audit report. The findings and recommendations of the investigation must be published and timely implemented, including holding those implicated in any wrongdoing fully accountable for their actions and inaction. Two, we urge the Joint Public Accounts Committee of the Legislature to timely review and conduct inclusive public hearings on findings of the report on the consolidated account. The outcomes of such hearings must be documented and fully implemented by the presidency to hold any wrongdoer accountable. Three, that citizens must demand the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and other government spending entities to fully comply with the public financial management law and other regulations relating to public spending to properly safeguard and utilize public resources to positively impact the lives of ordinary Liberians or citizens. Four, we urge the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to review key findings of the audit, especially those that reference violations of the public financial management law, including allegations of off-budget spending and others.
That's the voice of the executive director of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, Anosin Meerman, urging the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to immediately launch an investigation into off-budget spending on health, education, and other sectors, noting that the LACC needs to address issues raised in the audit report. At the same time, expressing disappointment over what it described as slow pace of investigation being carried out by the LACC to hold government officials accountable for the allegedly misusing state resources. Today's development, citizens of Gwion Town in Gouda District, Grand Cayman County, have revealed that the Soko Kanen Public School in Panjin Town will not resume for this academic year due to its deplorable condition. The citizen, through the town chief of Panjin, alarms over the appalling condition of the school facility, noting that the entire building is leaking as such. They cannot allow the people's children to sit on such a facility to learn. And further, that they have communicated with both their elected and county authorities, adding that nobody has come to their aid.
On the issue of Guillaume, we are not seeing any positive impact from them, from the two senators and to the representative, but we prefer the representative and the two senators send the SNS to the operation. There is no positive impact that fell from the citizens or from Guillaume. The only public school that we have in the clay is not go. This school year, our children will not go to school under that building because it's very much deplorable. And then we send messages, we do everything to get to them for them to help even from the government angle. There is no way. If they are listening, let me just make them to understand we want to import them. So we are in it. There is time for them to come to help us, but they're not coming. And then understand that they are break. Let me just say this. This is some of the things that can lead to some of them massive failure. These are some of the reasons because they can give them that break to come to us, but we don't see any of it from Aluko. So if they are leading us, we are the ones that give them the job. We say them to be one family. You can come, we say together, and then we discuss.
Okay.
But we recently we've been following, then doing work in other place. Let me see the if now our job or only a fancy public school with 12 bundle of zinc,
Okay.
and then a 2 bundle, we get what. So
Okay.
we are for ourselves together as community, we're trying to do so only, but it's not enough. So then, please, the money that you want
That's a voice of citizens of Guion Town in Gouda District, Guion Kemau County, revealing that the Soko County Public School in Panjet Town will not resume for this academic year due to its deplorable condition, at the same time calling on the government to intervene. While this juncture will not go to Stephen Tadwin comes in with the passion of last post.
Following the completion of the sub-base preparation installation works of the FIFA certified synthetic turf has commenced at both projects at the Bible Way Mission School compound along the Ara Road. Installation works will subsequently commence at the EBK Barracks project. This pilot project is being implemented by the Liberia Football Association in collaboration with FIFA with the aim of installing two artificial mini football pitches of the dimensions of 2 by 40 meters, serving a side pitch in schools and local communities to promote grassroots football development for boys and girls in the country and away from Liberia now. KVA are on one win away from qualifying for the World Cup for the first time after upsetting continental heavyweights Cameroon 1-0. The Blue Sharks lead the Indomitable Lions by 4 points with 2 rounds of fixtures remaining in Group D following a stunning victory secured by Dalion Livramento's solo effort in the second half in Prague. As well, Mampi Matassa scored the winner as Senegal fought back from 2-0 down to beat DR Congo 3-2 and move to top of their group. Africa Coast preserved their 1 point advantage over Gabon at the summit of Group F after securing a goalless draw away against the Panthers, the reigning continental champions who last featured at the World Cup in 2014 came close to defeat when Xavi Babika struck the post for the hosts in the 87th minute. Meanwhile, Nigeria's hope automatically to progress to the 2026 finals are very slim after the Super Eagles could only draw 1-1 away against the Group C leaders of Africa when a win was realistically required to stay in contention. And Egypt missed the chance to book their spot at the finals with 2 games to spare in Group A after a goalless draw in Burkina Faso. We're now quickly in Europe. Hurricane Noni Madueke Enzre Konza Magi and Marcus Rashford were on target as England took a huge step towards a silly World Cup qualification win, a 5-0 win over Serbia. And that's the sports.
Steven Talu with the Passion of Life Sports is indeed a regular featured on Blaze News Point. We don't take more development. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Waste, Means and Finance has observed that the Liberian government is losing millions of United States dollars by allowing private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products. Bon County Senator Prince Moyi said there's a need for the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company to explain how it has relegated some of its statutory responsibilities to private companies in the country. Addressing a press conference at his Capitol building office Tuesday, Senator Moyi said Liberia is the only country in the West African sub-region that allows private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products, thus vowing to communicate to the plenary of the Liberian Senate to intervene as soon as they resume.
The country has lost significantly to storage fees that has been charged over the period to private claim owners. Other terminals owners are in the business of storing petroleum products in the country. So when this investigation was done, it was not limited to Liberia as a case study. We took information from neighboring countries, specifically Sierra Leone. We went outside the South region. We took information, credible information. We had experts advising us so that we're not bringing anything before the plenary for approval that will come back to haunt the plenary. So we noticed that there were functions that LPRC, as a regulatory agency of the government and SOEs, and which their major line of revenue is only storage as per their function, was giving individuals and companies that build tanks in the country a blanket storage fee that they weren't performing the duties that LPRC performing, and then they were all collecting the same money. So we decided to look into that. After we looked into that and found out from the neighboring country, we found out that Sierra Leone right here, a storage fee per a gallon of gas costs $2.58. $2.58. Just next door sell. It applies to other countries at different levels. Even in great Nigeria, they are far below. So we invited the Ministry of Commerce and the LPRC management to come and tell us why they have continued to charge storage fee from 20 cents during the past government, went to 30 cents, and then this government brought it back, took it back again to 35 cents.
That's the voice of Senator Prince Moid of Bon County, observing that the Liberian government is losing millions of United States dollars by allowing private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products in the country. Today's development, the chairman of the Siapala Clinic Development Committee, John Banawo, says the facility is currently battling shortage of medicine supply. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent recently in Bon County, Banawo explained that the facility is providing healthcare services to inhabitants of Sakpana and its environment, including neighboring Guinea, but is currently challenged by delivering adequate health services due to the lack of sufficient versatile medications.
The challenges here is that we are facing problem with drug the ACT, malaria. When it comes to malaria, our children, every now and then you see them to the clinic, the malaria. So these are the problem we're facing. ACT, the shortage of ACT to the clinic, not easy. You see the children come with malaria, you don't have the drugs, because when the malaria drugs come, you can't stay long, you finish. These are the challenges we have,
What is your work, doing? Because malaria, someone say prevention is better than cure. Is it like the net they were sharing because I can recall they were sharing net? Is everyone using the net or what? What is happening?
Oh, it's not like our people now, they're not using the net. Just imagine we are human beings. Even if the person using the net, by the time the person doing outside, the female must be outside. So it's always obvious that we should get malaria, because while you're using the net in the house, but you will sometimes leave outside be 10 o'clock. While sitting outside, the mosquito working. So it's obvious that we should get malaria.
Is there any case where someone died because of malaria here?
What somebody had died because of malaria? Yes, I think it happened from the past. I think I make a call, a child died from malaria. So it was in 2022. Then I put that over air.
That's the voice of the chairman of the Sapara Clinic Development Committee in Bon County, John Barao, disclosing that the facility is currently battling shortage of medicine supply. And a Swedish women organization, Kvinnan till Kvinnan, in collaboration with other women's organizations, is expected to conduct a team consulted women conference aimed at bringing women together from diverse walks of life to address major issues affecting them. Kvinnan till Kvinnan, also known as Women to Women, has been established in Liberia since 2009, providing funding and capacity building support to local women's organizations. Speaking to journalists on Wednesday, September 10, in Monrovia, the country director of the organization, Asha Light, revealed that the upcoming women's conference will create a space where women can navigate their way through leadership and advocacy in the country.
So, as I said, we're a women's rights organization. We've been in existence from Sweden since 1993, but we entered and started working in Liberia since 2009. And we work with different women rights issues, and specifically, we work through women led civil society organizations. We give them funding and capacity support and opportunities to do advocacy. So, this is the 10th consultative conference. It's a women's movement building conference that we've had since 2015. So, it was established during the time actually during UNMIL, where they didn't have UN women, but they had what was a gender focal point. So, Queen to Queen at that time met with UNMIL and decided that we wanted to create a space for women and men to also join to speak about areas that we wanted to focus on specifically for advocacy. And so since then, every year, or maybe sometimes twice a year, we've met in Monrovia, we met in Bong, we met in Nimba, in different places to try to bring together women from all levels of society.
For her part, the executive director of Women in Agriculture for Sustainable Development, Howard Vanning, disclosed that the conference is relevant for the advancement of women in the interior parts of the country.
This conference is very, very relevant, not only to us, but to the grassroots women, those women living in rural communities that we work with. And we are so happy to KTK because it's not only us at the office that are attending this conference, we are also bringing women from the communities, from the counties that are coming to attend this event so that they have their voices and their experiences included in this conversation. It's really important because it gives us the chance, right, and the opportunity to add our voices to the national discussion because at times we work in these remote areas, we hear from the women, we document their stories, but it stay with us, right? So this conference creates the opportunity where they will be able to come at a bigger platform, share their story, engage with other women because it's not only our women from women in agriculture, but network with other women, meet different stakeholders because we will have diverse stakeholders there. And also at the end, like Asha has said, the documents, their issues will be highlighted and shared with the national government.
Well, on this note, this how come to an end of the Thursday, September 11, 2025 morning edition of Blaze News Point. Just will go the recap of the major stories. A government of Liberia and Rwanda sound the establishment of a joint permanent commission of cooperation and a reciprocal visa waiver for the betterment of both countries. Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia expresses frustration over what it describes as a slow pace of investigation being carried out by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to hold officials accountable for allegedly misusing state resources. Sokokan Public School in Panjin Town, Grand Cayman County risks closure this academic year due to its deplorable condition. As citizens of Gwion Town in Gouda District called for the government intervention. And away from Liberia, U.S. President Donald Trump called the killing of Charlie Kirk a dark moment for America as manhunt continues. We say many thanks to our news director, editor, reporter, and correspondent for making this edition of Blaze News Point a success. Steering title brought to the news bulletin in the passing of last post. Henry Kabasa control and coordinated the technical aspect of today's presentation. On behalf of the News and Current Affairs Department of Blaze Communications Network Incorporated, my name is Menso Mendy Abisenda. Good morning and for a pleasant day.